I thought that I would be ridiculed, exposed, and that people wouldn't love me. Since I was about 15, I struggled with an addiction to lust. It manifested itself in different forms. Things like pornography, inappropriate relationships, fantasy, just things thinking in my head. At the time, I was on staff at a church as a pastor. I felt really guilty, really disgusted with myself, a lot of pain, a lot of shame. I was the good boy. It looked like I was doing everything right on the outside, but on the inside, I was dying. I thought my wife would leave me, and I thought my kids would leave me, because I know guys who struggled with what I struggled later in life, and they were to a point where their wives did leave them, and their kids left them. I labeled people who struggled with what I struggled as dirty, as perverted. That's how I saw myself. And I thought, no one's going to love anyone like me. No one will accept anyone like me. So I didn't really love myself. And if I didn't love me, I didn't expect anyone else to love me. When I hit my rock bottom, when I became aware of the things that I wanted to do or wanting to act out towards, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've hit a low. For me, that was the starting point of just surrendering control, because I had realized at that point how out of control my life was. I received an email about a men's group, and at that point I wasn't really in a position to turn down invitations, especially when this one addressed an area of helping men deal with the areas of their sexuality. Once in a community and people began to embrace me and accept me, that really helped me believe through people that there was a God that would help me and embrace me and accept me. And all of a sudden I found I don't need to really lie anymore, but by telling the truth, I'm actually being set free from what's going on. That's where God came alive for me, not in a textbook, not in a discussion about theology, but just being authentic and sharing. And I loved it. I love being in the presence of God. I love not checking out. When it came time for prayer, and the guys would kind of pray over me, and they would just pray not only like words of grace, but they would actually just give me a word from God that really spoke to my heart. That's how I knew that God was speaking to me, and I needed other guys to speak those words because I was in a place that I couldn't hear. I'd be having an okay day at work, the same routine, and all of a sudden I'd get this impression, which I truly believe was the Holy Spirit. And it was kind of a impression to say, hey, why don't you check in with somebody? Why don't you call somebody? Why don't you maybe share that fleeting thought that you were having today? And that's one of the ways that I believed God was speaking to me in the midst of my struggle. One of the things I came to find out with my addiction is my addiction would take me away from living in the moment. It was my form of checking out. And so not having a form of checking out forced me to stay present to the moment, which was great because when moments were awesome, I totally enjoyed them. Birthday parties, special events with my kids, when my kids see me come home. I'm all present to the moment to enjoy that. I began to experience an intimacy with my wife like I had never known before. I just remember simple things seem so special again, like going out to coffee or going to have a talk at the dinner table because I wasn't afraid of her finding something out about me. I wasn't trying to cover something up. And true, since I wasn't so focused about me, I was actually able to be attentive to her and to her needs. When you're worried about being exposed, being shamed, being unloved, you think that people will leave you. And what I'm most thankful for is that people didn't leave me. My small group didn't abandon me. Ministers who ministered, they didn't shun me. My wife stood by me. They didn't abandon me. God really solidified, I'm not going to abandon you in this process. I really sensed God, that he was faithful, that he never left my side in that situation. I love to be able to say that this recovery phase of my life is over and I'm working towards something new, but the reality is I'll probably be involved in recovery ministries, healing, for the rest of my life, because that's what I need. So a work in progress is how I describe myself, even now.